Hello and welcome to Nithrania Game Club. My name is Branislav Berec and you're watching Game in a Nutshell, the series of videos designed to teach how to play various board games. Today we're going to learn one of the most anticipated games of 2019 and one of the biggest hits of 2019, Black Angel. Designed by Sébastien Dujardin, Javier Georges and Alan Orban and published by Pearl Games. To set up the game, place the game board in the middle of the table. Sort the dice by color and then place them in these supply areas. In a 3-player game, remove 1 die of each color, and in a 2-player game, remove 2 dice of each color. Then sort these technology tiles by color, shuffle them and keep them with the standard side up. It's this side with this debris icon. The other side of these tiles, it's called the boost side, is only used in the advanced variant, which I'm talking about at the end of this video. Then take the first tile from each stack and place them randomly on the first 3 spaces of this display. The display starts with this yellow line. Then shuffle these advanced technology tiles, keep the stack face down and place the first 4 tiles on the advanced technology display. Shuffle the deck of Ravager cards. And again, for a 3-player game, remove 6 cards from the deck, and for a 2-player game, remove 12 cards from that deck. Then draw the first card from the deck and place it on the spot indicated on this Ravager card. In addition, place 1 damage cube on the first space of that action. Then take the second Ravager card and repeat the process. If the second card targets the same action, place it on top of the first card and offset it slightly. Then take the damage cube and place it on the second spot of this action. Then prepare this space board. Arrange these 7 strips in any order you want, and you can use any side of those strips. And then place the Black Angel ship on the middle hex of this center strip. Black Angel flies this way, and so take this Planet Space token and place it somewhere on the last strip. Then each player takes a player board, 16 robots, 2 discs, and 3 starting technology tiles of the same color. Then take those 2 discs and then place one of them on the space 5 of the scoring track and the other one on one of these 4 spaces. These are player compartments, and by placing a disc there, player marks this compartment as his own. Then take 8 robots and place 5 of them in the center area, which is called the break room area, and 1 robot into each of these workstations. Then take these starting technology tiles and place them randomly on these 3 designated spaces on your player board. And finally, take 1 ship, 1 debris and 1 resource and place them into this storage area. Sort the mission cards by their color and shuffle the decks. Then each player takes 1 mission card of each color and 1 Ravager card. Randomly determine the first player, who would get this first player token. Each player will get a player 8 card with the corresponding turn order number. Based on that, the second player will get 1 additional debris, the third player would get 1 additional debris cube and he could lock 1 of his dice, and if there was a 4th player in the game, he would get a debris cube, resource and also the ability to lock 1 of his dice. Then each player would take 1 die of each color, roll these dice and place them into his compartment area. Remember, the 3rd and 4th player could lock 1 of their dice, which means he would move the dice from this standard area into this secured area. In the Black Angel game, each player controls 1 instance of the artificial intelligence controlling this intergalactic ship called the Black Angel. The ship flies towards this planet called Space, where humanity can start the new life, but the planet is so far away that it's not on the game board yet. Now all these AIs compete with each other for the best reputation. They either take actions on board of this Black Angel, which is represented by this Black Angel game board, but they also send ships from the Black Angel into the outer space to fulfill various missions and gain victory points. So the game actually takes place on 2 game boards. This is called the Space board and this is the Black Angel board. Players gain victory points by using these technology tiles, and this is the symbol for victory points. But first they have to gain those technology tiles and then take the actions to maximize the potential of those tiles. They can also score victory points by activating these mission cards. But again, first they have to fly out of the Black Angel, place those mission cards on the game board and then activating them. The game of Black Angel is played in rounds, and players take turns starting with the first player and then continuing in a clockwise direction. On your turn, you have to choose either a sequence A or a sequence B, and both of these are printed on your player board. In a nutshell, the sequence A allows you to take a lot of actions, and sequence B is some sort of a cleanup and a reset sequence. So now we'll go through the sequence A's in more detail. For a quick summary, when you take the sequence A, you may play one of your cards from your hand and place it around your player board to activate the technology tiles. Then you take a die and take an action with it, and finally you return that die to the supply area and draw the card of the same color. When you take the first step, you may place one of your mission cards or a Ravager card around your board. You place the card face down and you have to place it into one of these 6 spots, and the spot has to be empty. Then you activate the tiles in a corresponding row, or if played here, in a corresponding column. When you use the mission card, you can only activate the technology tiles of the same color as the card. So in this example, I would only activate this tile. If you use the Ravager card, you can activate all tiles. By the way, you never activate these advanced technology tiles because they only give you points at the end of the game. By activating the tiles, you get these bonuses depicted on those tiles. You can find the explanation of all those bonuses in the appendix of the rulebook. Then in the second step, you have to choose a die and take an action with it. After choosing a die, let's say I want to use this one, I have to choose an action of the same color either on the Black Angel game board or on the space board. However, there has to be a mission card of the same color. Then place the chosen die on the designated space of the selected action. Then you can activate that action as many times as the value of the die. Obviously, the same applies to the actions on the mission cards. When you choose a die, you can either take your own die or you can buy dice from your opponents. To do that, you have to pay that player one resource from your own personal supply. However, you can never buy a die which is in this reserved area. If you have a die in your compartment with a very low value, or this star is actually a 0 value, you can spend one debris from your personal storage area and flip the die to its opposite face. You can only flip your own die. If you buy a die from your opponent, you cannot flip that die. If you choose to perform an action and the action already contains 2 damage cubes, the action is damaged and you have to reduce this activation value by 1. If there is only 1 cube, there's no consequence. In addition, if there is at least 1 Ravager card on the action you want to take, you have to resolve the effect of the Ravager card before you take the action. If you cannot resolve that effect, you have to lose 1 victory point. Then you can take the action. If there are more Ravager cards on that action space, only resolve the effect of the top card. Now I'm going to explain these actions on the Black Angel game board in this numerical order. So we'll start with this first one, which is called the Command Your Ships action. So when you take this action, for each activation, you can move your ship by 1 hex. So for 2 activations, I can move it by 2 hexes. If you have more ships on the spaceboard, you can only move one of them, you cannot split the movement. In addition, you can launch a new ship from the Black Angel. To do that, you have to take one of the robots from the break room of the Black Angel. Then you must have at least 1 ship available in your storage area. Then take the ship, place the pilot into the ship, and the ship starts the movement from the Black Angel hex. Again, for 1 activation, you can move 1 hex. You cannot enter these asteroid fields unless there is a Black Angel on that hex. However, if you end up your movement on the asteroid hex and the Black Angel moves away, all the ships on such hex are destroyed. There can be maximum 2 ships on one hex, and those ships must belong to 2 different players. However, other players could easily pass through such hex, but that player cannot stop there. If you end your movement on the hex of the same color as the color of the chosen die, so in this case orange, you may place a card of the same color from your hand on that hex. Obviously, you can only do it if that hex is empty, which means there's no mission card there yet. However, if the hex would contain any other ships, you can still place your mission card there. Then you must take one of your robots from the break room of the Black Angel and place it on this small circular space with a depicted reward. In this case, it's 1 victory point. And then notice each mission card has a space for 2 ships. Placing a mission card is optional, so you can simply move your ship, and with that your action would be over. However, if you would use the die with the star face, which is a 0 value, you cannot move any of your ships, but you must place a card. So if you use the orange die, you have to be on the orange hex, and you have to have an orange card in your hand. Now, regardless of the value of the die, if you want to place a mission card and you don't have any robots in the break room, you cannot place that mission card. Only if you play the mission cards, count the number of these Ravager icons on all adjacent hexes. In this case, there are 2 Ravager icons. And draw that many cards from the Ravager deck, so in this case we need 2 cards. So, draw the first card, place it face up to the Ravager location of the corresponding action, and then add 1 damage cube on the same action. Then draw the next one. In case you draw the Ravager card and the location is already full, which means it already contains 3 Ravager cards, simply discard the card you have just drawn and draw the new one. In case you have to add the Ravager card and the location already has the 2 damage cubes, add the Ravager card and place the damage cube on one of the dice in the corresponding supply area. Mission cards actually cover those Ravager icons. So when you count those Ravager icons around the newly added mission cards, do not count those icons which are covered by the mission cards. After resolving the Ravager attacks, the last thing remaining is to add the technology tiles. If you would place this mission card, you need to add 1 more yellow technology tile. If this would be the newly added mission card, first add the green technology tile and then add the yellow technology tile, in this order. So the green tile has to be added first, so slide existing tiles up and add the green tile. Then you need to add the yellow tile. If you have to eject any technology tiles, they are simply discarded. And slide all other technology tiles and add the new one. So, to summarize the entire action, for each activation, you can move one of your existing ships or launch a new ship from the Black Angel and move it 1 hex per activation. Then you can play a mission card, then the Ravagers would attack, and then you add technology tiles. When you take this second action, you can take technology tiles from this display. Because it's an orange action, you need orange die to activate it. Each technology tile has this small symbol which indicates how many pips or how many activations do you need to take that tile. These first 4 tiles only require 1 pip or 1 activation. All other technology tiles, including the advanced tiles, require 2 activations. When you take the tiles, do not replace these empty spaces. As you have seen before, these technology tiles are only added when the new mission cards are placed on the spaceboard. However, if you take the advanced technology tile, this empty spot is replaced immediately. Then you have to inject the new tiles into your player board. You can do it in any order you want, but you have to follow these arrows which are either on the bottom or on the left side of your player board. So I could take the tile and eject it like this. Or I could simply place it here. Or I could push it from this direction, and that would eject this tile away from the board. Keep this ejected tile nearby, it may be useful later in the game. Now, the advanced technology tiles can only be injected from this direction or this direction, as these two black arrows indicate. If there was any debris cube on the ejected tile, once the tile is ejected, place that debris cube into your storage area. If you would eject this advanced technology tile, and it doesn't matter whether you eject it to the right or to the up, place this advanced technology tile into one of these three designated spaces. Those advanced technology tiles give you victory points at the end of the game. However, the maximum amount of victory points scored for this tile is 4, but these tucked cards increase that maximum by 2 points for each card tucked underneath. If you would already have 3 advanced technology tiles on these designated spots, and you eject another one, keep it nearby, it will still score you victory points, but maximum 4. If you take this third action, it's actually the same action as the action number 1, command your ships action, but this time you can only place gray mission cards. Everything else is the same as with the first action. When you take this fourth action, you can remove damage cubes from the Black Angel. For each activation, you can remove 1 damage cube, and you can remove any damage cube you want. If an action space has 2 damage cubes already, remove the 1 from the second space. You can also remove the damage cubes from the dice. The damage cubes you remove from the Black Angel are turned into a debris, and you can either place it into your storage area, or even better, you can activate your technology tiles. Each tile can only be activated once, so take the debris cube, place it on a tile, and take the benefit. You can do it with all the debris cubes you have just gained from the Black Angel. The fifth action is again command your ships action, and is the same action as the action number 3 and action number 1. But this time it allows you to place green mission cards. And finally, when you take this sixth action, you can destroy these Ravager cards. For each activation, you can destroy 1 card. When you destroy Ravager cards, you have to destroy all cards in a given location. So with 2 activations, I could destroy these 2 cards, but I cannot destroy any card from this location because there are 3 cards and I only have 2 activations. All these cards are going into the player's hand. In addition to these 6 action spaces on the Black Angel game board, players can also use actions on the space board. Cards with these dice symbols are called activation cards, and they can be activated. This card, with this kind of a double red arrow, is called a neutralization mission card. These cards cannot be activated, they are automatically triggered when they are ejected from the spaceboard. In order to activate these activation missions, you have to use the die of the same color, and you either have to have a robot on that card or your ship, or potentially both. These robots indicate the owner of the card, but the card can also be used by other players. So, in order to activate this green card, you would have to use the green die. Take the die and place it next to the mission card. And for each activation, you can apply the card's effect. So in this case, you would get a robot and a ship 2 times. In addition, if you activate a mission card which is owned by another player, the owner of the card would get 1 free activation after the first player finishes his activations. As the final step of the sequence A, return the die that was used to activate an action to the supply area of the same color and draw the mission card of the same color. Put that mission card into your hand. The same applies for actions taken on the spaceboard. Take the die, return it to the supply area of the same color, and draw the mission card of the same color. Then count the number of mission cards you have in your hand. Do not count the Ravager cards, only the mission cards. If you have more than 6, you have to discard down to 6. Now we will take a detailed view at the sequence B. If for any reason you cannot perform the sequence A, so let's say you don't have any dice remaining and you don't have resources to buy dice from your opponents, you must take the sequence B. Or you can voluntarily decide to perform the sequence B even if you still have some dice available. In that case, you would lose victory points equal to the total amount of pips on your remaining dice, so in this case it would be just 1 point. After that, put all those remaining dice back into their respective supply areas. Then you can perform the first step and re-roll your dice. For each of your robots, roll 1 die of that color. Dice are limited, so in case there are not enough dice in the respective supply area, you simply roll as many as there are remaining. In addition, if you have to roll the damaged die, remove the damage cube and lose 1 victory point. Rolling dice is mandatory, so you cannot avoid this. After taking all the dice, roll them and place them into your compartment. Then the second step is resetting your player board. Discard all the cards from around these 6 spots, but make sure you don't discard any of these stacked cards under the right side of the player board. Then take all the debris from the technology tiles and place them into the storage area. And as the last step, advance the Black Angel ship towards the planet Spes. Move the ship 1 hex forward and eject all the mission cards that are located on the last strip. If there are any neutralization mission cards, resolve them now. Mission cards are returned to their owners, so this card goes to the red player and this one goes to the white player. Then the robots and ships are going back into the general supply. Mission cards ejected from the spaceport are tucked underneath the right side of the player board under the corresponding section. Then take the last strip of the spaceport, flip it to the other side and place it to the front of the spaceport. If the Black Angel moves and this Spes token would be ejected from the spaceport, remove the token from the game. Again, flip the last strip and place it to the front of the spaceport. And then place this big Planet Spes tile on the middle hex of the front strip. The game can end in 2 ways. First, during the sequence A, when the Ravager Dex gets depleted. Or during the sequence B, when the Black Angel reaches the Spes planet. In that case, finish the current round and then play 1 more final round. Then sum up the victory points for all players. In addition to the victory points gained over the course of the game, add the victory points for advanced technology tiles. Normally, those tiles can only provide 4 victory points maximum. However, the advanced technology tiles placed into these 3 designated spaces have the maximum increased by 2 victory points for each card of the same color tucked underneath. Any advanced technology tile still in the grid or potentially ejected can give you maximum 4 victory points. In addition, if you have the same advanced technology tiles, you cannot count the same element twice. And finally, if the Black Angel reached the planet Spes, take all your robots from the break room and only from the break room. Then add your resources and ships that you still have in the storage area. Then for each 2 pieces, score 1 victory point. However, if the Black Angel wouldn't reach the planet Spes, the remaining resources don't score any victory points. Then the player with the most victory points wins the game. When the endgame has been triggered, the Black Angel cannot move any further. You can still perform the sequence B, but skip the last step. The ship will not move. That means no cards will be ejected. If you would be forced to take the sequence B, you are allowed to skip it completely. If the Ravager deck gets depleted, shuffle the discard pile and form the new draw deck. When you play a 2-player game, use only 5 strips for your spaceboard. Also, use only 4 dice of each color. Then during setup, place 1 robot of a neutral color into each workstation. When you initially roll dice for each player, roll the dice for the neutral player as well and place them into one of the empty compartments. Then during the gameplay, players can buy these dice from the neutral player and they would pay the resource into the general supply. As usual, if they would buy the die, they cannot use the debris to flip them. When any player performs the B sequence, roll the dice for the neutral player as well. However, only roll dice that have been used, so in this case it was the grey die that was used, or dice with the star face. After re-rolling the dice, place them back into the neutral compartment. Whenever a player adds a robot from the break room into the workstation, remove the robot of a neutral player. That obviously reduces the number of dice neutral player can roll. As you can imagine, it may happen that over the course of the game, the neutral player will be completely removed from the game. The game also includes the advanced variant. In that variant, use both sides of the standard technology tiles. When you place these tiles on the display, place them with this boost side up. And that includes setup as well, so you would start the game with these 3 random tiles with the boost side up. When you acquire such technology tiles and you place them on your player board, place them with the boost side up as well. Now, as the symbology indicates, one time in the game, and only one time, you can use the effect of the technology tile. So in this case, when you use the grey die, you can set its value to 3. After that, flip the tile immediately to the standard side. When the tile is with the boost side up, and during the sequence A, you place a card to activate the technology tiles, this tile will not get activated. However, you can voluntarily choose to flip that tile prematurely so that you can activate both of them, but you are giving up on this powerful effect. And finally, during the third step of the sequence A, when you return the die to the supply of the corresponding color, do not draw 1, but draw 2 cards of the same color. Then look at those cards, keep one and discard the other. And that's it, that's how you play Black Angel. The game also has a solo variant, and if you'd be interested, I can make another video about the solo rules, but I didn't want to include it in this video because it would be just way too long. Anyway, if you would have any questions or comments, please put them into the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. If you like the show, please subscribe. You've been watching Game in a Nutshell. My name is Branislav Berec and hope to see you next time.